So walk us through that deal. How did you hook the guy? What did you go through? How much time did it take?
I mean, yeah, there's a whole backstory in terms of how long it took to find this niche. But essentially, I tried concrete out first. I didn't do everything that Nick said to do. He said, like, don't go for the seasonal markets. So that was my first mistake. Eventually, I found one, okay, this one I could do year round in a place where it makes sense to do it. And then I just kind of got the idea that, hey, there's a lot of business owners who leads call them, but they don't answer the phone. So I got the idea to get the Text Now app on Android. It doesn't work well on iPhone. So I tested them both out and I just texted literally everyone I could. And I just saw who responded right away and who seemed the most hungry. And I
So you
just
use
found
text
one
to
guy.
prospect to get the hook.
Yeah.
And what's the app
So
called?
Text Now. So I got to
Text
use a
Now.
localized phone number.
Hmm.
So it was one in the area. So I just messaged literally everybody I could. I went through Google Maps, Google Ads, all the
And it just
classifieds.
lets you load up a bunch of phone numbers and just blast them with.
I mean, I had to do it manually. Yeah, there's a lot of legwork involved. And I had like maybe 40 different conversations that afterwards there was a bunch of people who didn't even respond. And I don't want to deal with those people right off the bat. So if I could find out ahead of time who is going to answer the phone when I want to make a deal with them and who's not going to tell me, these leads, they're a waste of time, they're not good enough. Like I want to know someone who's hungry right off the bat. So if I could kind of test them out before I even bring this up, then that's better for me because then I have a list of people that I want to work with and I know I'm not going to waste my money on. I found this guy and he was hungry and I just explained the deal. I did it before I even had a lead in hand just because I spent a lot of money making mistakes that I didn't follow the course to a T. And Nick did say that ahead of time. It's just like the people who don't follow it to a T are gonna like say like, this isn't working for them. So I didn't want that for me. But I also want to kind of protect myself. So I just told the guy, I'm like, look, I'll probably have a lead tomorrow for you. Are you going to want to do this? And I explained to him like, yes, eventually you're going to have to pay me. And I found one guy who did want to do that. And it was a lot easier knowing that this guy was going to answer the phone when people called him. So I sent him leads that came through the quote form. And he's like, right away, like, cool, I'm going to call them. Oh, I booked this person right now. I was just amazed. I'm like, wow, you're actually hungry. This is nice. And I used the same philosophy for another city. And yeah, I found someone else who's interested. So it was cool to find hungry people just by knowing how fast they answer the phone.
That's a great way to prospect. I do the cold calling, and of course, you know how it is. People don't answer their phone, so you have to leave 20 voicemails, and then you get 4 callbacks, and then from those callbacks, you start siphoning, and then you end up with your guy, or you don't.
Yeah, because some of the business owners, they have landlines and they have a secretary answering for them. It's not always the case. Sometimes it's the wife or whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of want a guy who has a cell phone on him because that means he's ready and he wants to grow this business. I'm catching him in that state where he doesn't have someone as a secretary. And if he has a secretary, that means he has enough work coming in to delegate some of his work. So he might not be as hungry. He might have more people coming in. And that might not be the case, because some people might be more motivated with more overhead. But I kind of want to catch the guy where he's looking to grow, but he's just looking for that magic bullet, and I'm that magic bullet for him.
There's definitely some truth to that, and I had that firsthand. One of my guys, he had to quit because he wanted to retire and just move on. He didn't want to work anymore, but he really loved my service. Now that I have a new client, he actually called me and said, "Hey, do you still have that client?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm kind of want to come back from retirement. I'm not enjoying this." And we had a great run. We had a great 3-year run, and I kind of want to come back. I'm like, well, let me figure something out. I can't really fire my current client, but I'll figure something out for you. So yeah, this was a guy who kind of similar to what you have, where he was just knocking doors, hungry, super, super hungry. This guy quotes people on a Sunday after church. Like he does not stop. He's an empty nester and he just go, go, go with his wife. And when he met me, he couldn't believe that, it was, like you said, a magic bullet, because all he did was just run around shaking hands, kissing babies. And then all of a sudden I handed him this business in a box, basically. And he did that for a full 3 years. He loved it until he decided to retire. And now that he's gone, he's getting a little perspective. He's like, man, I need to go make some more money.
How much more time do you have on the contract with this new guy?
I have 2 months.
2 months. So you think if you increase the cost by 20%, if he doesn't take you up on it, then you can go for that previous guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I already increased the price. My guy who's retired, I charge him 500 a week. Now I'm charging 650 a week. It's just part of the business. You have to raise your prices after a while because inflation, like the ads, the whole thing, like we're paying more as we go. Like every year we're paying more and more, not just in business, in life, water, electric, everything. Everything's going
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah, you
once
don't want to
you,
be put in a situation where Google changes the game.
Mhm.
And let's say something doesn't work the way it used to. Well, that whole time you could have been making more money and setting it aside
Right.
for other things, and you weren't doing that. So you weren't maximizing your current situation.